Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to here in the CCP of Taupō, New Zealand, Council Chambers, 107 East Rural Street. Item number one, we have Councillor Park is very kindly made himself available to come here.
Maori kai te whenua, tue ki te mana o te tanaka. Tue ki te kono, te areha, ki e peke, ki e eke, ki te taumata, hui e taika.
Thank you very much, Councillor Park. Item number two is apologies. And I believe we have Councillor Truman apology. Good to see Councillor Fletcher online. A lot of the latency works in real transit. So driver moving please. Thank you, Councillor Shepherd, seconded by Councillor Williamson. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against? Carry. Item number three, any discussion pertaining to the items today? We will carry on then. 4.1, curbside rubbish and recycling options for inclusion in the long-term plan consultation document. Yeah, Tony Hale, Mr. Brent Baker. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon, Chair and Councillors. Good afternoon, Your Worship, Councillors. Good to see you this afternoon. Beautiful, bright, sunny day. I don't have any dad jokes, so I'll move straight on swiftly. Okay, so the paper in front of you that's been circulated really is basically it's a curbside rubbish recycling options for inclusion into the long-term plan consultation document. Now, we have been talking about you for this some time. We've had several workshops and that started the conversation last May. And many communities across New Zealand are now moving to a change in level of service. And for example, some of them are moving towards wheelie bins. And certainly the government has indicated they want to move to a standardisation across New Zealand as well. And you'll see in the paper as well that we're also promoting a food pickup collection service. I just want to make very clear to you some numbers. I just want you to remember two numbers. That's all I want you to think about. Well, I want you to think about other things, but that's these as well, particularly. 40%. There are takeaway factors. Basically, 40% of our current waste is going to landfill, and this could be recycled at the curbside. The other number I'd like you to remember is 27%. On average, 20% of bag contents are organics, and that's approximately 1,000 tonnes. So I just want you to remember that 40 and 27. So the paper goes into detail around what the problems are, the issues. There's quite a significant list there on page 3, I think, is of the issues. And then obviously we go into the advantages and disadvantages of the two options. And what we're recommending today is option 1, and that's moving to a rate system of wheelie bins. Now, I'm sure there'll be lots of conversations, so Brent and I will take the paper as read, and we're happy to open the discussion.
Good, thank you. Questions?
Thank you, Worship. And Tony, I don't mean to rain on your parade, but this is actually issue has actually been being discussed since we were in the former council chamber at 72 Lake Terrace. So it has been a long process to this date. I do know also that most of the feedback I get from people who are interested in how clean our streets are is the flyaway rubbish on rubbish day and the cardboard and whatnot from recycle bins. So I also speak to the CE of a different council over the weekend where he has a batch in an area that has already gone to the system. He's at another council which are moving through the system, and given that central government are legislating that the food waste happen, I just think it's time to bite the bullet and get on with it. So I'm going to be voting in favour of the preferred option with the wheelie bin this afternoon.
Councillor Park, can you have a question? Councillor Greenslade and then Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Worship. I'm in a very difficult position as the councillor representing the Turangi ward. 40% of the ratepayers in my district are holiday homeowners. They're not here really on a regular basis. And obviously, because they're holiday homeowners and they're second home, they're paying rates in another area and which is already providing their waste. And so I've had representation from people, particularly in the Omori, Kuratau, Pukawa area, which currently have a pickup service, that the wheelie bin service would definitely not work for them. Some of those people also do actually currently take their rubbish to the end of the road. So it's quite an easy thing to pop a rubbish bag in your boot and take it down to the end of the road. And it's quite a different story altogether to do that with a wheelie bin. Clearly not possible. I know that they would.
Services, it's not a.
I know that. I know that they would actually prefer to have the current service. I'm just wondering what options we can give these people who are saying that they would prefer not to have the wheelie bin service.
Sorry, Councillor Bangsford, I asked a question. That's a private service, not a council provided service. The company provide that privately.
So, well, the council agreeing to was commenting, sorry, the questions come to me and one councillor there.
And that's fine. I'd just like to highlight through you that that service of dropping rubbish at the end of the road is not a council provided service. That is a private service supplied that you see in other areas of the community.
That's what councillor Green said, was saying people are voting to take down the end of the road.
They do take the rubbish bins. They do take the rubbish bins to the end of the road.
Yeah.
Because they're short rounds and they get to the
Okay, questions, councillor Payne.
I asked the question.
Oh, sorry.
That's the question.
Sorry, what was your question?
The question was, what are we going to do about those people who are currently saying that actually the wheelie bin service won't work for them because of the status of their situation?
And I agree, it's not like the provision of service delivery. We're not, I've got to put your hand up, we're not going to be exactly what everybody wants. And it's very difficult to have a bespoke service delivery that is right for me and it's right for you. We're all in different scenarios around when we're going to be there and when we're not going to be there. I think what we've done in regards to the holiday homes, and I've stated this previously, is that we would look to alter the hours of the Omori transfer station to give us some little bit more flexibility. The fortnightly service actually reduces the cost to holiday homeowners because the truck's not going past every week. We want to work in your community to make sure that there are that entrepreneur that has the ability to assist those bin users to put them back. There are lots of holiday homeowners that are Airbnbs. So we think there's the people that make the sheets at the Airbnbs could also be asked to put the bins in and out at the right time. And I think the outcome around the peak service delivery will mean that when they are there on a constant basis, they will have a weekly service. So I think there's it's very difficult to have like dual services because that means you've got to have additional trucks. So at the moment, we're talking about going to an arm raising service. So if you stay with the bag, then straight away you've got to provide another capital cost of a different truck for a different service. So, and then it just becomes very confusing about how that all works. So I think we've given some ideas about how we can work with the community in Mori-Kuratau about those issues. And obviously we're here to continue to do that. I do hear those complaints, but I think a bespoke service for every different person that thinks that they've got a different outcome or a different service delivery need would be very difficult for us to provide.
I agree. In that case, it would be your bin as a district or your out. So that would be something that would be considered by council.
I don't think that we as council would want to say to an area in our community that we weren't going to provide a service. It's about public health.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, and I understand what you're saying, because obviously when council are providing a service like that, we're trying to get rid of rubbish. We get that totally. It's just that such a high number of them out there. And I know, like with the batch care and those sorts of people, they do take away their own rubbish now. Anyway, it's not a council situation, but yes, I mean, it's going to be an ongoing conversation. I suppose the reality of it is we need to make sure that people put their submissions in.
Yes, we do. I think we've tried to make sure that we've minimised that cost of the truck going past, but there is the cost of the truck going past on a regular basis, and that sort of needs to be, catered for and paid for. So I know that we're not going to be there for everybody at the exact time that they're wanting to be there, but we're trying to make sure that that's as diverse and we have as many solutions for you as we possibly can. And I'll put my hand up. I'm going to be in that space working with your community to try and make sure that we have those solutions for them.
Councillor Cramer.
Thank you, Your Worship. Like Councillor Park, I'll be voting in favour of this on the understanding this is for the consultation document. This is not we're putting this in place, but I do have some concerns, and they're around the impact on rates, impact on debt, as noted in the agenda item. Some of the disadvantages listed with the bin model, plus when you look at the risks that are there, there's quite a few unknowns for me, and I'd like to think at the time the consultation period is finished and we get to actually making the hard decision, a lot of those unknowns, and I'm thinking particularly around the government injection of capital for that, are more well known for us. I'm not sure whether there's a question in there or more to the statement with Brad.
So the government contribution is based around our waste minimisation levy, and as I'm not sure if the document identifies, but the levy has moved from what was $10 a tonne that we were paying the government, that is moving to $60 a tonne in July of this year. So we will get like a 50% of that share back based on our population. So that's going to be, we have to see how that works out in regards to, because it's going to be changing depending on the amount of tonnes that goes to landfill across New Zealand. So a little bit of moving feast, but yes, I'd like to think that we can firm up on those contributions closer to that time for you, yes.
Councillor West.
Intends just the cost of it and making the change, but I think the change has got to happen. Having had a holiday home in a Hopi, we had a wheelie bin and just worked around it, and it worked really well. I was driving to work on Monday morning up Acacia Bay Road. I would have counted 10 bags that people had put out overnight that were scattered all over Acacia Bay Road first thing Monday morning, and it was just an absolute mess. So someone, either the house owner or the rubbish guys, someone was going to have to deal with that. I did just have a query on one of your comments in here under option 1, and it said an assistance service to put bins back for users who are medically unable to do it themselves. This would be covered by rates. So I didn't quite know, would that be an extra cost for people who are compromised and can't put their bins out?
Well, that's what we're looking to provide as a service. If you had a medical certificate to support that, then we would, as ratepayers, but that's a call for you guys to make, really, whether you wanted to provide that at no cost or at an additional cost. Talking to other councils, there's not a huge number, and I'm not aware that we're actually doing an assisted service to anybody that's having to lug a rubbish bag or a wheel crate out to the gate currently. But if there are people that are going to struggle from a medical perspective and can provide a medical certificate, then we would provide an assisted service for them. So that, yes, they would. Yep. Yes.
Bishop, just clarifying, Brent, you said before about when it goes to $60
yes.
in July.
Yes.
The half will come back based on population. However, we're in quite a unique situation that around 40% of our ratepayers don't live here on a permanent basis. Does that mean in high season they would be taken into account as permanent population, or is it based on very old census data throughout the 12 calendar month?
Unfortunately, because it's the census data, unfortunately Taupō Districts is not on the right side of that ledger from a perspective of the amount of tonnes. It's based on population for stats. So you could suggest that we'd probably get a little bit less than what we deserve in that levy return from MFE, or from government, but it is what it is. I think we've lobbied a little bit on that space, but I think the previous government were looking to maybe make some allowance for that. I'm not sure where the current government are sitting at this stage. Well, the census isn't at the time when all the visitors are here, so you won't actually get an appreciation from a waste perspective. And I think that's probably why, if you look at our waste statistics, we seem to be in that high echelon, but it actually doesn't. That number is because there's a lot of people coming here, but it doesn't actually reflect the census number.
Councillor Bachman.
I was happy with the options, recommended option 1. Yeah, I just want to make a comment that we've only got so many levers to improve our sort of carbon and other options. And I think this is needs to be a big part of the consideration as well. I know for practical reasons, everything else is supporting option 1, but I think that environmental needs to be noted in some way that it's actually quite important for our obligations in terms of climate change and everything else.
Thank you. Councillor Leonard.
Just think we need to be cognizant of the fact that if we go to these bins, then the cost falls directly to the ratepayers. So it's not a user pays, so the motivation to recycle and things might not be there the same for people that are not having to buy the bags. So it means instead of a user pays, it's actually the ratepayers that are paying the bill rather than the people in the community. It's always worth considering the unintended consequences of that. So just a lot to mention.
The bin set itself is the driver to drive recycling. So when you match that up against user pays, yes, you've got a financial motivation. But currently, if you look at our service delivery, there's no limit on the amount of waste you can pile up out your gate. Whereas what we're trying to do is to change a massive behaviour change program where we get people to utilise the bin set. And utilise that bin set. It's going to take a little while to bed in, so that's why we're suggesting that we don't want to provide a whole lot of different bin variations in the first year, because we want people to utilise and get used to it and actually figure out, well, actually, if I do those recycling outcomes, then the waste capacity is about right for me. And that's what we've shown. That's what's been shown right across New Zealand with the implementation of the bin set. So. User pays will have a market impact in regards to how we implement waste minimisation, and the market also has a bit of an opportunity to be in that space. And I'd suggest that we are focused on waste minimisation. The market out there is obviously looking to gain revenue. So those two clash.
Councillor
Certainly, Brent, the work's been involved in so many years. Council Party is been quite a long journey. And also picking up what Councillor Taylor's point about rates. Obviously, we'll be interested to see when the submissions come to committee is saying, but I do support the option 1 recommendations presented.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. So Councillor M.
Yeah, thanks, Richard. Just a few points here. I'll just tackle Turangi question. I mean, you probably thought about it harder than I had, Sandra, but why can't holiday home owners drop off their bags to the tip on the way out? Is it because the opening hours are shut? But I mean, surely that's a drop off box or something like that. Okay. I'm moving on. Just to, from my perspective, the existing way it's done doesn't seem particularly broken to me, and I recognise this is being imposed upon us. My take on it by government legislation, minimisation, but also the fact that our current contract is expiring, and when we did that tender, it came out quite a lot more expensive than the current. I mean, that's sort of stuck moving forward into something, and yeah. For better or worse, but we just a couple of things here. We got a submission Taupo Climate Action Group just yesterday, actually. I thought they had a couple of interesting points. And perhaps you've gone on them before, but if you just want to answer to this. They mentioned about bin options.
I had a submission that's coming in for the.
Oh, look, we got sent it yesterday, I think. I had to skip through it. I mean, they raised some interesting points.
I don't think we did that.
Oh,
They have to wait.
no.
What's the process? Councillor Campbell, already have some.
If it's a submission to the LTP, we need to enable the whole of the which puts. So, these councils free to ask for clarification,
Oh, okay.
but can't respond to a submission.
Yeah, okay. So forgetting what they said, but it sparked a question of my own. Well, evidence of waste reduction. I thought that's a pretty legitimate question. How do we know this is actually going to reduce? I mean, evidence of, yeah.
Yeah, the food waste program is going to be our main reducer of waste. We've been in a bespoke waste minimisation contract for many years, which has allowed us to put out as much recycling as we possibly can. Also, on the flip side of that, as much waste as we possibly can. So it's been a situation where you can sort of all you can eat in regards to recycling program. It hasn't included food, obviously, so there's another 1,000 tonnes of food that we're going to get out of there. Looking at and so if I address just some of the ideas around bin selection options, just about everybody out there that's moved to bins is rocking out the same bin set that we have. And so there's a lot of work being done and trials and all those sort of things being done. And we're about the third wave back in regards to implementation. So there's a whole lot of people that have done this on the first wave and they're reflecting what we're doing. So the government's looking at a standardised service delivery and reflecting what we've sort of put on the table. And it's sort of pretty much what everybody else is in the bin set.
No, okay.
Yeah.
My take on the surprises, unforeseen consequences, but districts which use bins already know about them. Yeah, stacked bins on footpaths. I think that'll be an unwelcome surprise for someone on a motorised scooter or something. The other thing was the size of the bins. I think it's implied that some people won't feel inclined to recycle because the bins are more than they need now. I mean, that certainly doesn't apply to someone with a family or anything like that. I think that'll be more an incentive to recycle at the very least.
Yeah.
So, certainly from my point of view, but yeah, that's it.
Councillor Greenspan.
Thank you. I just want to say, yes, I think that the recommendation that's put to us is the appropriate one to go into the long-term plan. I think we've got it right. Can I just ask you what happens to the food waste, which you're going to be collecting every week?
Well, there are two options on the table. One of them would be to eco-gas, and that's where currently all of Auckland's food waste is going. So proven technology. The other option is our Mine Oak worm farm. And so we've got both those options on the table at the moment, and it'll really depend on where we land in regards to the options selected. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Very good. You have a question? Okay. Just pointed out, just about consultation. I say on this matter. So thank you for the coffee visit. Time frame is taken and appreciate the answer. The recommendation there, ladies and gentlemen, that we select an option. Do I have a mover at all? We can move in option A, which is option 1. Yeah. Just the aim. Also the bag collection for the school. Yeah. Yeah, I to put out. And number 2, correct. Okay, you happy to move 1 and 2? Thank you, Councillor Williamson. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Loughlin. Moved and seconded by Councillor Williamson and Loughlin. 1 and 2. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Carry.
Thank you.
Right, point 2. East Urban Lands Development Partner Long-Term Plan Options. Councillor Loughlin.
As a, I just note my interest in students of the building is one of the parties that are at the state secret.
You'll have to listen.
Having been on the steering group, I believe, like, even though we note Jenny, potential conflict of interest, I don't.
Yeah. Councillor Loughlin would have that decision himself.
I don't think it's a conflict of interest per se, but certainly perception of bias. Happy to listen in, but happy to just not participate in the voting, please. Keep everybody safe.
Okay. Thank you very much. Right, good afternoon, thank you. Zero.
We're just technical difficulties, but yeah, I think Chris was going to. He's just. We get it. Maybe not. No.
No. Yeah, want to help. Okay.
Okay. That's right. I do want me to start.
Anytime.
No, I don't think it's on.
No.
It's because it's Mike's whiteboard. I don't think it's it. Yeah, it's you. It's you. It's you.
Can you just go back to the main screen? Yeah, not whiteboard, just.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then just unplug it.
Yeah.
And just bring up the whatever it is that you want. Yep, just make it big. Yep, try plugging it in again. And then just try dragging that window across. Yep, just like it's 2 screens. Maybe just one thing is go up. So use the mouse on that as the second screen. So pretend that that's your second screen on the side.
It's
not there.
We don't know whether. Should we just continue without them?
Yep.
So that's sorry, we were hoping to have some renders for everyone today to again that visualize. Oh, the mic. Press the talk.
Nice similarity, but
yeah, so apologies for that. We were hoping to have some renders up on the screen for that visual component, but they are not working for us, which we're not really sure why, but that's okay. So obviously today we're here to present a paper. Now this has been a long time coming. Started off obviously with the development of the housing strategy along with annual plan consultation where council decided to invest in our East Urban lands to open up a range of possibilities for the future. Well, now we have progressed development of stage 1A and then the earthworks of stage 1B and 2 as well. And we're at the stage in the project where we have a decision here for you today on how to progress. So we'll take the paper as read, and no doubt there'll be lots of questions. So
Okay, thanks, Eric. Could you introduce the two, sorry.
Yes, cool. So I'm Chris Haskell. I've been a member of the PMO for some years. Sarah asked me to stand in as acting manager of housing and property investments, as I have a vast amount of knowledge in vertical construction and commercial contracts.
Yeah, with Peter Hancock, the commercial manager. I started just in late June, and I've been involved with the project all the time since then.
Yeah, sorry. Oh, good to see you, gentlemen.
There we
Okay,
go.
question.
Well, look,
Oh, there we
got
are.
visual. We've got visual aids now too.
Okay, so the arrow is the land we're talking about?
So if you look into the centre where the arrow is pointed to, that's stage 1A and 1B. So, and then if you look at the box that we've got on the right-hand side down at the bottom, that's showing a bit of a close-up on what 1A and 1B would look like. Of earthworks has been completed on stage 1A and 1B.
Right. Questions, councillor? Others, let's go. Councillor Shepherd. Yeah, councillor Taylor.
It's not a question, it's more of a comment. Thank you for the team for putting the agenda item together. I'm going to vote in favour of this. The only pushback I've seen, and that comes through some commentary early in the process, was council are not developers and should stick to their knitting and keep out of this. And just for the record sake, we are not developing or developers. We have a consortium who are doing that on our behalf. We are simply facilitating this, and irrespective of where the market has gone, the need for homes remains. And those who are looking for a home in the affordable range previously are still looking for homes and will continue to look for homes. And we have, in my view, an obligation to be good stewards of this land and provide opportunities while we have the opportunity available. So I want to thank the team for the work they've done over a considerable period. I'm happy to support it.
Thank you, councillor. Deputy Mayor, very eloquent. Thank you. Councillor Park.
Thank you, Your Worship. I've, like Councillor Taylor, have spent probably the last couple of years being involved behind the scenes on this project, and I'd just like to reiterate that council is not stepping on private developers' toes. We're simply enabling a fit piece of land ready for construction to be given, and it was advertised to the community, and a consortium has met and jumped through many hoops to meet the obligations that we are wanting to look at. I'd also just really like to note that, and I know that council have been through this a couple of times, but just to remember that this project does not actually financially put a huge lot of pressure on the rates increase, and future payouts of the developed land will then help alleviate debt. So I just want to ensure that this process and this amazing opportunity doesn't get downplayed or get sort of drowned out with the fact there is a rate increase. Because if you look at what that rate increase actually is about, it is not really this. This is to just facilitate and enable the next stage to happen while ensuring that council can have some sort of control on ensuring that first home owners, second timers and people along those lines will have an opportunity to have a home of their own that is not going to cost them a fortune.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say, sorry. Yeah, so through the chair, there is no rates impact from this. There is a slight impact on debt in the first few years, and as you can see in the table, it is paid off by year 5. However, the repayments on this and the interest are paid with the revenue generated from this project, and in the meantime through the strategic property reserve. So absolutely no pressure on rates at all.
Yeah. Cheers.
Yeah, I held off thinking that there might be some questions from some of the councillors not on the steering group, because of course, those of us who have been on the steering group are very well aware of the work that's gone on behind the scenes. We're very clear on what our purpose is here, and it's been explained very adequately by my colleagues. Yeah, also really happy and pleased that Councillor Parks noted that there's no rates impact, because that is quite vitally important. And also that this was the steer from our housing strategy. It was made very, very clear to us that the community wanted us to step into this space. So I feel very comfortable with the terms, and, you know, bearing in mind that this wouldn't be possible without developers who had a sense of community as well, because this wouldn't be possible if it was purely profit-based. So thank you to the team. I'm appreciative of where we've got to at this point, and I hope that our fellow councillors are comfortable. I'll be voting in favour.
Thank you, Councillor Shepherd. Councillor Greenslade.
Thank you, Wisha. The paper to us says there's a new type of housing development in the Taupō market. Can you explain, please, how, or why, or what it is that it's new? What is the difference between what we've had before and what this looks like?
Chris.
Obviously quite new, but to the project. But what I can state is that by designing these with a smaller section size, as well as going 2 stories, some houses may not have garaging. We're trying to get off-street parking as well. So by taking and removing en-suites and things like that, some of those additional extras that you generally find with a home. So if you remove those items, it's still a great quality home. We're just removing some of those extra spaces.
Yeah, through the chair, the design elements were key here. So there's obviously enough of a deficit in the market where developers don't have to offer this at the moment, because there's enough in that, you know, 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom, double garage space. So developers obviously go there. So this is just a slightly different product to the market. And again, because we are able to lead the outcome here, we get to see exactly what we want. So that's how we've achieved it, because the market is so strong that we wouldn't go outside of that typology.
If you don't mind, just for some further context, it's also a little bit different because very few councils are in a position to do this. We have the land, and therefore we have the control. And so that is about the only way we're going to be able to dictate an outcome that's favourable to the community. So that's another reason why it's a bit different.
Councillor Campbell.
Yeah, I'd just like to acknowledge past good decision making of this council to be opportunistic enough to take advantage of when the land was available to buy at a bargain price. It was, sounds like it was a too good to be true type of thing, and they took advantage of it at the time. So yeah, it's all plus. I mean, you can quibble on the exact way forward from now, but it's there's not really negatives that I can see.
Thank you, Councillor Campbell. Might be think about what it is today who made that sound decision to procure the land. We paid for it off land conserver, so pretty lucky. Councillor Westman, sorry.
Just because in the housing market, I've been quite close to the working group and been very supportive of seeing the council go ahead with this process, which we've just been through. But every day up in the rental office, I see families struggling with the rents that just keep going up. You know, $680 a week will get you a very average, maybe 2 or 3 bedroom home these days. It's most probably 30, 40 years old. There's no upside. People are applying for jobs, can't get rentals, struggling to get into the house market because it's still quite buoyant with, having to pay up to $1 million for a home. So we're losing out on good people coming to our town, and I think this is such a positive step forward. I just congratulate the team for putting it all together for us.
Councillor Payne.
Yes, sorry, can I just a point of clarity, Your Worship, that whilst we're talking about affordable homes and the amazing opportunities they offer some of our community, these are going to be peppercorned throughout neighbourhoods of market homes as well. So it's going to be a really lovely product where everyone can be really proud of their neighbourhood together.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Williamson. Councillor Parker, so you summed up all the things that obviously this assumption that this type of development was certain parts of development, it could be NIMBYs on my backyard. I think the quality of the actual process and the outcomes would be expectations when the problem is it. So I congratulate the council staff and the steering group as well, who works without going to this.
Thank you, Councillor. Sarah, so where to from here? This is going out consultation. And Chris, sorry. So the likes of these particular companies, they can't start selling them yet, can they?
So yeah, clarification, stage 1A, we actually have done we've got the capital expenditure to go ahead through the annual plan, so that they can be appointed for stage 1A. Stage 1B and stage 2 would be subject to long-term plan consultation, of course, because we can't predetermine any outcome of the additional capital spend. So stage 1A, they could go ahead and do that initial first stage. 62, is it?
Yeah, 62. Yeah.
As of tomorrow, they can go.
Well, there's a few more, as per the recommendation, we obviously are at, we've agreed commercial terms, but that's sort of an agreement to form an agreement. So there's legal requirements after that, and we've got to do resource consent and finish the civil works. So there's a little bit to go, but essentially you'll see it moving in the next little while.
Very good. Just a side note, taking into account inflation, land was first 4.3 million in the mid-90s. 260, I think, is
a whole lot. Very good. Thank you. Nothing further there, gentlemen?
Nothing to add.
Turn 3. I have a mover. Councillor Rankin, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Shepherd. Go ahead. This and thank you to the steering group. Hard work. Endless meetings and all that sort of thing to come up with a fantastic solution here, I believe. But we'll hear from the community in due course, no doubt. So with that, I will move and second. I ask all those in favour, please. Those against. Gary, thank you. All right, meeting closed.
Uningia, Kirito, Atina, Kiwaki, Elona, Kiwaki, Ilao, Arokiti Pika, Arokiti Pai, Nuye, Tai.
Ai, que